Some maps are easy to overlook, not because they're bad, but because at first glance, you feel like you've already seen them. And that was exactly my mistake with AgroForest. Welcome back to The Forgotten Farmer, where we revisit maps that, for whatever reason, perhaps never got the attention they deserved. And this one is a little different. Because AgroForest isn't really a new map, at least not in the traditional sense. This is Silver Run Forest, a giant's map we've known since Farming Simulator 22. So when I first saw AgroForest, I recognised the landscape and recognised the town and simply moved on. I thought I knew what it was, I thought I'd overplayed it. I was wrong. Because Setka simulators haven't simply taken Silver Run, changed a few buildings and put their name on it, they've reimagined it. And the more time you spend here, the more you realise just how much thought has gone into doing that. There are details everywhere. Roads lead somewhere for a reason. Industries feel part of the landscape. Farms, animals, waterways, and production areas all seem to belong where they've been placed. It feels deliberate, and that's important, because the best farming simulator maps aren't simply collections of fields and buildings. They're places that make you wonder what's around that next corner, and AgroForest does that remarkably well. There's still the forestry that made Silver Run what it was, but now there's a proper arable farming. Cattle, horses, even rice, olives and vineyards, mining, rock, sand and cement, a completely reworked harbour, even a cargo boat that you can genuinely load and navigate around the waterways yourself. There's an enormous amount here to explore, but more importantly, there's an enormous amount here to build a story around. You could take the traditional American farming route, bigger fields, bigger machinery, and build yourself a serious farming operation. You could find a quieter corner, keep cattle and horses, and create yourself your own ranch. You could start with almost nothing. An old tractor, a small piece of land, and perhaps imagine it's the late 90s, slowly building a farm up over the years. Or ignore most of that entirely, head into the trees, and create yourself a full-blown lumber empire. And I think that's what makes AgroForest so special. It doesn't tell you how you're supposed to play it. It simply gives you a world with enough depth to decide for yourself. Setka Simulator started with an already good Giants map, and somehow made it feel like somewhere worth discovering all over again. So, if you did what I did, saw AgroForest and thought, I've already played Silver Run, give it another look. Because sometimes a forgotten map isn't forgotten because there was nothing there. Sometimes we simply didn't look close enough. Welcome to AgroForest, and welcome to today's episode of The Forgotten Farmer. So the eagle-eyed amongst you, having played a little bit of Silver Run back in the day, would recognise this area as our starting area. We've got our little collectible on the rock over there. But as you can see, it's a very different scene these days, with our big new house in the background over there. As we look down here, we've got our new barn, whereas that used to be where our old house was. When we look at sort of what we're looking at as a sort of starting situation on the map, the house itself is ours when it comes with the land. You've got quite a bit of quite a lot of land, because you've got all of this to play with. We've got the cows are there as well. We've got another cow pasture here, chickens. We've got pigs and the sheep here. We've got these two, so we've got a cornfield there. I think that's going to be a barley field up there, and then you've got the grass field here as well. So quite a lot of space to do quite a bit with. A bit more agricultural, really, than forestry. There's not huge amounts of trees. There are some, obviously, you can see dotted around. There's not too much in terms of what you're going to want to be chopping down. As I sort of said in the cinematic, I could have spent ages doing a cinematic of this. I could have spent 20 minutes. It's so much going on. Starting equipment, really basic stuff. So an old John Deere. We got an old Challenger here as well. very small trailer, cultivator, and harvester. Not even a head of corn. And then, yeah, cedar. And that's basically it. This is our storage barn over here, which is a very nice little model. And that's basically it in terms of your sort of expected start. Now, for me, I would do this very differently. I mean, you could go so many different ways with it. But yeah, for me, I will look to go a very different way, which I'll show you in a moment. I'm intrigued to see out of like anyone watching really who has actually played Silverrun, what you've thought of it, and then if you've actually played the AgroForest to see the differences. If anything, which one would you prefer? Because is this trying to be too much of everything for everyone, or is it striking that perfect balance where it allows forestry but also allows a little bit of farming as well? It does feel set up for so many different sort of ways to play. But yeah, I will set myself up a little save, I think, and bring you back in when we've got all the kit and equipment, and I'll show you how I would go about it. I do love this sign. Fair play to Mr. Dex. What a legend. Right, so a couple of ways you could go at this. Ignore the fact I've got 688,000. I would probably drop that down to about 10 or 15,000 pounds. Now, there's two, I've sort of included two versions here. So the absolute basic would be this setup. So we'd have just the truck, trailer, we wouldn't have any of that stuff there, and all we would have is our chainsaw and then the plot of land. So maybe a 250,000 pound loan, just this kit, and then we just go at it. We just chop the trees down, delimb them, start cutting them. Now, there are some amazing mods out there now that make forestry just so much better. Let me turn my strength off. So, for example, if we have a look at this now, if I come off the controller and move towards the tree here, what you'll see is it now will highlight, and this was it's Tim's mod. I can't remember. It's Forestry Helper. I can't remember what Tim's full modern name is. I'm so sorry. But yeah, it's the Forestry Helper, and what an incredible mod, because if I move the controller, so I come off the controller, go onto the keyboard, we can see there indication mode is length at the moment, so that's set at 1 meter. And I think we amend that by Z, is it? And that would then... Oh, I've got a conflict on my keys. But nonetheless, you could change that and you can make it suit. However, if we do press C, it goes to weight, which means then it's going to give us a 200 kilogram weight limit, which is what you can basically collect. So it then snaps to the purple point. We would then cut it there, even though it looks like it's slightly off. If I remember rightly, yeah, it cuts exactly where it's meant to. You can then pick this up, if I remember rightly, why... Oh, it's 203. How weird. That's a little bit of a me thing then. How strange. Let's cut this and see what happens. So now we should have... There we go. So we'd be able to pick this up, and what we'd end up having to do then is you basically just load the truck up. Like so. Drop that in there. Happy days. And then we carry on loading our trailer up. It's a grind, there's no two ways about it, but I do love this sort of style of playing the game. Certainly in the early part. You wouldn't want to be running Oz's red tape mod on this, because it would absolutely annihilate you for chopping the trees down. Let's just do another test here and see what's going on there then. So that is exactly where it's now meant to cut, and it's going to say it's going to do 200 kilos. Let's just see where it cuts this time. I wonder if that was something I did wrong. There we are, that's perfect. 199 kilos. Off we go, and happy days. So that is the sort of how I would probably want to play it. I don't know, like, for those of you that do forestry occasionally, like, how do you start your games? What is your sort of preference on these sort of styles of forestry? Do you just go all out machinery? Do you go absolute top end in terms of what your kit? Do you go basic like this and just start with nothing? This is the sort of save I would like to do. The other option then is we start a little bit more where we've got a bit of a better setup and equipment. Now, again, mods have come into play since this, we've got pretty much a mod for everything these days. This is a wicked mod for doing forestry. It's a bit cheaty because the idea here is that you're going to put the straps on when you're collecting the logs. Your more standard alternative would be your log grab. So depending on how realistic you want to play, that's the way to go with it. And then again, you would just be like, for example, we're chopping our trees down over here. And again, it depends. You could go really old school because you could find like a deadwood tree. We got anyone there? That one just sort of a tree in the middle there. You could cut that down. You basically use that as your measuring stick. You could then pile up 2 or 3 trees together. Use your measuring stick, make the cuts. You know, there's a lot of ways to sort of go at this. I mean, I know it's repetitive and it's boring, but I just love the whole, like, just delimb in the tree, and especially with this, like, the forestry helper tool now, where it gives you that. Like, I'd be very inclined to start basically start with nothing, save, so just the truck and the trailer, and try and build up, get the equipment, keep chopping the trees down and going at it that way, because I just think that's, to me, what a sort of forestry save would normally look like. Let's have a look here. So even though the blade there is off to the right a touch, let's see what it gives us. Is it enough, or is it... See, it's done 2 or 3 again. It's almost like it can't quite get that first cut. So if I don't do anything... So again, it's cutting to the right. Let's have a look. What's it going to give us here? Exactly 200 this time. It's not quite doing it, is it? It sort of wants to be that 199. That's a shame, that is, because this mod was working really well before, and I don't really understand what has gone wrong here. Because if I cut that, I don't know if it's going to cut where I want it to or not there. Yes, it has. There we go. It's given us our disc. So that should then reduce that down to, what's that, 183. And then this one, I'd have to take a disc off that as well, or at least a tiny amount anyway. But yeah, depending on how you want to play it, that's what I would do with this sort of save. And then cut all of this down, replant it eventually. As you sort of start your empire out, see what you can do in terms of kit and equipment. I definitely go along the sort of storyline of the family have allowed me to, rent a room there, sort of thing. I have that massive amount of debt, and basically play the game through that way. So the only thing left now is to ask the 3 standard questions. Number 1, do I want to keep playing this map? I absolutely do. I had forgotten how much I enjoyed Silver Run in the first place, so having it done like this makes me want to play this map, and I forget how much I enjoy forestry. Do I think you should give it a go? Yes, I think there's enough in there to basically give everyone something that they like. It's a difficult one because my fear is that it is trying to appeal to everyone rather than focusing on its target audience. But I do think you should give it a go, even if you haven't played Silver Run. If you didn't play Silver Run in 22 or the updated version 25, 100% you should be giving this a go. And finally, should I make a mini Let's Play series here? I think so. Certainly in terms of a mini forestry Let's Play series, I think that should be the case, but I'll let you guys tell me in the comments. As always, thank you ever so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. I hope it's given you some ideas as to how you would like to play the game. And as always, be happy, stay safe, and we will speak again soon. Take care.